gotta be honest, I may just be over the Demna Balenciaga aesthetic. There comes a point in every man's life. No, nothing too dramatic, but I've been thinking about this more and more, and I thought it was a good time with all the shakeups at Balenciaga and Gucci and, well, the fashion industry as a whole, to talk about how our fashion evolves and what I'm personally feeling like wearing, experimenting with, and what I'm no longer interested in. You're probably familiar, but if you're not, Demna from Balenciaga, he's been the creative director there for almost the last 10 years, has moved on to Gucci. In his place, they've hired Pierpaolo Piccioli, formerly of Valentino, and so things are changing a little bit. And I feel like along with that, overall, fashion trends are obviously shifting. They always will. But I feel like I am just personally gravitating towards different things. My aesthetic in general is evolving. I think the sort of cultural fashion aesthetic is evolving. And I guess I wonder if anyone else is feeling this too. I kind of just want to dive right into it, but before I do, if you haven't considered subscribing to the channel yet, please do consider it. This is Jawnz Addiction. My name is Matt. We talk about fashion here and trends and other things that I'm interested in at any given time. If I had to break down my style, it's kind of all over the place, right? I would say there's like 4 primary things that I'm interested in. Rick Owens, Julius avant-garde stuff, sort of normcore, almost preppy stuff, like just like J. Crew, whatever. Eddie Slimane, kind of rocker, leather jackets and tight jeans type look. And then Balenciaga. Now interestingly, you may say that that's all over the place, and I often say that about myself, but I actually think there is some connective tissue there. I've seen that there is a lot of overlap. I think it's probably just being a guy who's into fashion. But I have actually seen a decent amount of overlap between a lot of those aesthetics, particularly Rick, Balenciaga, and Eddie Slimane. Again, I think it's largely just these are the subcultures that like male fashion is interested in, but I think there's something to be said for each one of them that does have like an element of the avant-garde within them. Eddie and Rick, I think, actually play fairly well together, and some like Balenciaga and Rick pieces blend in. Where Balenciaga, I think, departs a little bit, or when I say Balenciaga here, I'm referring to Demna's Balenciaga specifically. Balenciaga has always had like a sense of irony to it, taking the piss, if you will. You know, it's always been very tongue-in-cheek in terms of like, I made a whole video about it actually, about him like deliberately almost making fun of the merch angle of high fashion. At the same time, he's like a brilliant designer, brilliant with the way that he uses and transforms clothes. I mean, it's very interesting how he takes these like traditional streetwear pieces and will make like a gown out of it, or like a handbag out of a leather jacket or a pair of jeans. Even something as small as like my tape hoodie having like cuts on the side that lead to an internal pocket because the pocket on the outside is ripped off. Just little considerations like that that are really well considered and interesting about the pieces. So what got me kind of thinking about this topic in general, there was a couple things. I've been collecting Balenciaga pieces throughout the years, kind of starting with my love of the Triple S, as I've talked about to death on this channel. Obviously, I'm wearing a piece today. This is my most recent Balenciaga pickup. And what kind of got me started thinking about this was, you know, I wanted this shirt for like years since it dropped. And I want to say it was like a 2024 Lunar New Year drop, something like that. And I really liked the metal logos and everything. I thought it was really cool. I really liked the Triple S variant that they did, the wallets that they did that had that kind of scripty metal font on it. I still actually am watching some of the whatever, but I really wanted it. I checked out the store in New York. I tried it on. They wouldn't budge on the price, and it was like $800 or something like that. So I was like, I gotta pass. But ever since then, I was like watching it on Grailed. I had like 8 listings anytime and like waiting for people to drop the price. I came so close at one point because they dropped it to like $330, and I was like, I'm not ready to buy right now. I let it go. And then finally, recently, I was watching one on eBay with authenticity guarantee. Now it sounds like an ad for eBay. And they dropped it to like $220 or something like that, which, you know, coming from $800, I was like, okay, I got to do it. Sold. I bought it in the gym in between sets. Pointless anecdote. Just me and my dumbbells and putting in low balls on eBay. Long story short, I got it in the mail and I opened it up and I felt nothing. I just flatlined. And I'm sure you guys who are into fashion stuff are no stranger to this feeling of like the dopamine hits don't always hit like they used to. But I expected a little something more. I'll say this, every Balenciaga piece I've gotten, I've been somewhat impressed when I've actually like held it in hand. You know, I got a piece from 2017, the crew neck. Just has a nice weight to it. The bleach pattern is really beautiful. You know, the triple S is the fine details of them. The tape hoodie, like I said, that print is so good. It looks like real tape. The pocket hoodie details. Even my Balenciaga, I have like a wool monogram sweater. It's like the warmest sweater I have. I wear it on freezing cold days and it's excellent. This one, it's just, look, I'm sure it's real. Authenticity guaranteed. But I didn't feel that level of specialness with it. It just feels like a printed t-shirt. And it doesn't even really have like crazy, like distressing details like a lot of them do. So that might be playing into it, but I think it's just after such a long chase of like 2 years to get it in hand and then be like, okay, I've got that. I think that really does speak something to how I'm feeling about this aesthetic and whether or not I actually want to keep exploring it. So I'll go into the other reason that I'm kind of been feeling this way, and then we'll talk a little bit more broadly about the fashion landscape in general. I'll try and timestamp these videos in case these stories are boring. The other thing was, I just made this video where I went to the outlets, and they had some really good prices in the Balenciaga store. Some shoes I'd been actually eyeing for a while. I've really liked the 6XL, don't have any pairs. And I really liked the cargos from, again, a couple seasons ago. They had 3 pairs of cargos out in my size, and they were super marked down. He said they had marked them down and then again. So they were like $430, something like that. For like I want to say those debuted at like $1,200 or $1,300. So significantly dropped. Now I will say, I probably would have grabbed them if they were the pair that's my favorite color, which is the black and yellow. But I don't mind the black and white ones. And they had them in my size. And I tried them on and I was like, man, in what world am I gonna wear these? Because I have the 3XLs, right? The yellow ones, which are enormous, but they're not like insane. Like you can wear them with even a pair of like straight legs and look like okay. The cargos they're enormous. I'll try and put up the video here, but they're comically large. And that's part of what I like about them, right? I like that aesthetic. They're interesting to look at. But I just, you know, I'm gravitating more and more recently to like, again, that prep aesthetic. I've talked about it in the trends. Wearing more like suiting, wearing more like high-waisted, pleated, flowing pants. And it's not to say you can't wear that stuff with a Balenciaga aesthetic, but the Balenci look is that like oversized, I mean, you know, long sleeves on your t-shirts, very exaggerated silhouettes. Like the way to wear 6XLs is like, it's like Kingdom Hearts, right? You got giant shoe, little spandex, and then like giant shorts. And the fact that it is so dynamic is what makes it interesting. And that's just not really something I find myself gravitating towards on a day-to-day. If I were to wear it, it would be like a novelty, you know? And look, all this is to say, I'm not taking a dump on that aesthetic. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are into that aesthetic, and I don't want to say like not for me, but I just find it less and less for me. On the days where I am wearing that, it's feeling more and more costumey. And so I didn't go for it. I also tried on the pierced, I showed this in the video, I tried on the pierced shirt. The shirt was enormous, and it was just like a size 1 in a way that I didn't find was like flattering to my body or something that I really felt like I would reach for. And again, it was discounted. It was like 300 something, but we got to be judicious with our spending, right? And the crew neck sweatshirt I would have bought, except I feel like they kind of ruined it with the sleeves. They had that puffy pirate look. It was those 2 experiences that have just made me really take a step back and say, maybe I'm just kind of done with this. And you know what? I'll tell a little. So someone asked me a while ago to do a Balenciaga collection review. Maybe I still will, especially if I continue to get pieces down the road. Though I'm not sure, I don't want to be buying pieces just to collect them. I want to buy pieces to wear. That's part of what I like about fashion in the first place, is they are beautiful items that I love, but I like being able to wear them and show. It's like having a baseball card collection that you can like carry with you out in the open, right? And show off to the world. That's part of what I like about it, is being able to showcase my stuff. So I don't think, at least at this point, that I want to do a full collection, because I feel like people would be like, that's it? My mentions of the stuff that I have earlier is pretty much what I've got. You're seeing it, buddy. I have a couple other things, but whatever. But I will show one pair that I don't think I've showed on the channel, just to talk about and kind of like hopefully clear up why I feel this way. And that is my Santiags, which are these bad boys right here. I'm going to try and hold them up so you can see them well, because they are absolutely gorgeous. I'm hoping the camera is picking those up well. A little bit of dust on them. I gotta start storing stuff in dust bags, especially if it's stuff I don't wear very often. But I can only hold it up for so long because, as you may guess, these are heavy as HE double hockey sticks, and they do have shoe trees in them. The details are just insane on these things. I'm hoping the camera really picks it up because they are a sight to behold. You know, just crazy cowboy boot style with the metal tips, the metal heels. They have this kind of like harness. It's not a real harness like you might get with like a Eddie Slamont. It's just the zipper, just zip boots like that. And a little tiny Balenciaga right there too. I mean, these things say Balenciaga all over them. When are these from? I want to say these are from 2019. And I remember going on the website and seeing these and being like, man, wouldn't it be cool to own a boot that beautiful someday? And so I actually have like a great deal of pride in being able to say that I have these. Heels a little chewed up from driving in them, which I don't recommend. Now, I'm talking a big game about being over the Balenciaga aesthetic. I don't think I will sell these. Maybe someday. I still wear them every now and again. Though, the reason why I bring this up is, for as much as I think this is a boot, God, I keep saying it. For as much as I think this is a beautiful boot, to me, this kind of represents the issue I have, which is I love this thing. I love looking at it. I think it's gorgeous, and I don't really feel like wearing it very often. It's heavy. It's enormous. I find it hard to style the way I want to. Like, I have plenty of Chelsea boots. I have 2 pairs of Wyatts. I have like some Calclutes from Raf Simons, Calvin Klein. And I will gravitate towards those much more than this just because these things will take over your outfit unless you're wearing like, you know, a pretty baggy jean or dress pant or something with them. You really have to go pretty maximalist when you're trying something like this. And it's hard for me to incorporate that. And so what this amounts to, and what I'm finding a lot of my Balenciaga pieces are becoming, are expensive paperweights, which is really not what I'm interested in. I want functional things that I'm going to wear and going to show off and love in an outward way. You know, people talk a lot about like cost per wear, which I think is a really good, that is a really good way of looking at clothes. You know, should you be buying something that you're only going to wear like once or twice a year? If you're spending a ton of money on it, like those were a pretty penny, probably not. Your money would probably go a lot better served if it's something that you're really going to incorporate in your wardrobe over and over again. That being said, it can be cool to break something like that out once a year and have people go like, you know, really be breaking some necks. So I do want to know if anyone else is feeling this way. Specifically, I mean, any aesthetic, but specifically about Demna's Balenciaga. And to a larger extent, I know I touched on this at the video beginning, but I kind of feel like I'm not alone because I think the industry in general is moving away from this, including Demna himself. You know, as I said, he's moved over to Gucci now. And what he's doing at Gucci is not really similar to what he did at Balenciaga or Vetements in a way that I think is welcome. I don't think we want to see him just circling the drain with the same designs over and over again. I wanted him to forge a new path and try something different. It's a lot more tight. It's a lot more Tom Ford. I want him to be experimenting a little more than he is and not just doing nostalgia stuff. But it is different and it's not that same aesthetic. And I kind of wonder if that aesthetic is just a little dead, a little dated. I don't think it's a big problem. Like people will often make hay about like, you're going to look so stupid in 10 years. Who cares? That's 10 years from me's problem. I want to dress how I want to dress now. And I don't care about looking silly in the future. That's pretty much unavoidable. Even all the guys, you know, I'll try and find the meme. I talk a big game about like preppiness coming back or whatever. All the guys that are dressing super prep right now, including myself, are probably going to look try hard and cringe in another 10 years. Just from that. Even if it's like normcore type stuff. Any aesthetic. So that's not what I'm saying here. But what I am saying is that I think the time has come and gone for those pieces and that aesthetic, and we're all just kind of moving on now. Even Balenciaga as a brand, trying to bring in Pierpaolo, like looking at the store, I see the evolution. I was literally talking to the SAs about this. And I know it's not anything groundbreaking, but like what Kering wants to do is keep that male customer that Demna kind of brought in with the streetwear, with the graphic tees, but also bring back maybe some of the female customer with Pierpaolo's more gown-like women's wear approach and slowly, you know, kind of turn the ship a little bit in that direction. And again, like I said, this is not revolutionary thought, but the essays were like, yeah, I think you nailed it. Like, that's what they're doing. I think it seems pretty clear. So even that brand that kind of got famous for that is pivoting away. So I just wonder, like, how are you guys feeling about this? Are you also feeling I don't want to call it fatigue with that look of just like, it's time. The time came and went, and now we're interested in different things, or at least evolving the silhouette a little bit. The new Triple S 2.0 is like it's still a big shoe, but it's a slimmer variant, you know? And I think there are alternatives to that look now. Like, you don't have to be spending Balenciaga money to get a look that looks like that if you still want it. Plenty of brands latched on to that oversized, baggy, distressed, even ironic look. So it's out there if you want it. You know, I've even seen people say, like, I saw a post recently that was concerned about the avant-garde space because of some brands shutting down. I think Army of Me might have just shut down or is in trouble. I've talked about Boris Bijan Sabiri on this channel. I think there's something to be said for it. I think techwear had a big boom, again, like within the last like 10 to 5 years. And I think that look has kind of like faded a little bit, and only the cream of the crop is going to continue to stick around. People's tastes change and they get interested in different things. I'm still interested in avant-garde stuff, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's mixed in heavily with a bunch of different things. Eddie Slimane. There's a real resurgence of Eddie boys out there, people who are really interested in his Dior days in particular. But there is a big surge of people looking for that Eddie Slimane aesthetic, but I don't think it's an underserved market. I think there's plenty of other brands that have stepped in, like All Saints or Fix or Kinda Sandro or like Straight to Hell even on the low end, that you can get your fix for Eddie Slimane from. And I mean, even what YSL is still doing to some degree. So that's enough rambling. What do you guys think? Are any of you Balenci heads, former Balenciaga fans, are you still in that aesthetic, ride or die? Do you feel yourself moving away from it? You know, I follow the Balenciaga subreddit, and I've seen lots and lots of people be like, this brand is dead. I don't think it's that deep. You know, I mentioned in the last video I did that I still think their graphic tees are like, they're hit or miss, but they always were, I think. And that some of them are still cool. I just think part of the problem with ironic, sarcastic take on fashion is as soon as you rip him away and somebody else steps in and starts doing it, it immediately becomes cynical and kind of dies. Like, you can't pretend to be Demna. It was cool because it was him. Honestly, it would be like if somebody else stepped in for a lot of brands. Like, I don't know that Rick Owens lives beyond Rick Owens. Unless, honestly, I don't know what it would take. Like, would Tyrone be a good... I mean, who's closer to Rick than Tyrone? And Michelle, obviously. But I don't think she's going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, Rick is Rick. And Demna's Balenciaga was that. Now, I will say this. I still love certain pieces as that collector element of me. The expensive paperweight that I talked about. So I'm still looking. I still have tons of stuff from, particularly, I know I've talked about it a lot, the 2017 Fall Winter Collection still lives rent-free in my head. I have a decent amount of pieces from it, and I am still like watching more. I want to get more like the political campaign shirts and hoodies and bombers and things like that. You know what I've never seen is this caramel colored leather jacket. If you own that or you know where it is somewhere, point it out to me, because I, you know, might not be ready to buy now. I might have just bought some things, but I want to keep my eye on it because that's a piece I've always wanted to pick up, and I don't even know if it exists. So let me know on that. And pieces in general, I'm always looking. So I still think I will collect it, but I don't know that I'm looking to wear it. And so that just factors heavily into what I'm wanting to spend my money on and engage with. So I don't know. Again, I'm just kind of rambling here, but I'm wondering if I'm making sense to anyone, and anyone else is kind of feeling that. Or, like I said, another aesthetic that you're kind of feeling that way, like a techwear or something that you've just found yourself kind of drifting away from as trends change, as times change. It's kind of interesting. Other than that, I kind of reached the end of my spiel. So, like I said, if you haven't subscribed yet, if you like this kind of video, please do consider subscribing, leaving a like, hyping it up. How many more things can I ask you to do? Pick up my dry cleaning. Just kidding, you guys have done enough. Honestly, though, do leave a comment because I'm interested in this discussion in particular. I want to hear from you guys, and I do read all the comments, and I try to respond to the ones that I can. That's all for today. Hope you guys liked the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you guys.